All right, what's up? Welcome in. Happy Friday. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of the faithful getting set to have a fantastic weekend. And I hope this weekend you're going to join us for our watch party tomorrow night right here on the channel as the San Francisco 49ers return to Levi's Stadium to play in front of the home crowd for the first time since taking on the Dallas Cowboys and beating Dallas in the divisional round of the playoffs. And a familiar foe coming to Santa Clara in Russell Wilson with a new head coach in Sean Payton and the upstart Denver Broncos. San Francisco lost this game last year. That was Jimmy Garoppolo's first start of the season, week 3 after Trey Lance got hurt, and it was a confusing, confounding game. Hopefully Saturday's result going to be a little bit better. On today's show, some updates as to whether or not some starters are going to play in this football game. Also, who is Ilm Manning? A scouting breakdown on a UDFA who's really impressing this organization. Before we get started, though, can we get to 83,000 subscribers with this video? Hit that subscribe button if you're in the market and looking for daily updates on the Niners. And I'll tell you this, I'll make a deal. If we get to 83,000 subs with this video, I'm starting the watch party in true party fashion, and I'll shotgun a beer with all of the homies out there. Appreciate the support. Continue to rock with us here on the show. So the big question going into this Denver Broncos game, week 2 of the preseason, will Kyle Shanahan play his starters against Denver? And what is the quarterback rotation going to be? We haven't seen Brock Purdy yet. Trey Lance started last week, then came in Sam Darnold. Brandon Allen in the relief effort late in that game as it was an ugly performance from the Niners in Las Vegas. What's the quarterback rotation going to be tomorrow night? Kyle Shanahan on the Broncos reproach here. We planned on Sam going the first half. We just finished practice here. I'm going to talk to the trainers with the rest of our team and everything. I might get Brock in there for a little bit. Have not finalized that yet, but thinking about playing the ones for possibly a series a little bit in that first quarter. But whatever that is, if we don't, Sam will have the whole first half. And if those guys do open the game with Brock and some of the ones, it probably won't be much longer than a series or two. So awesome news here for fans who might be at the game and for us as overall Niner people, right? Because we might get to see what this first team unit looks like offensively and defensively to see what the makeup of this team is going into 2023. My take, I always think that prior to the start of the regular season, especially for an organization under Kyle Shanahan that historically starts slow in September, it's good to get some starters, some run in the preseason because nothing replicates a game. And you're able to get acclimated with that actual game type of feel when the real bullets are flying. And we're kind of past this at this point, but if I was Kyle Shanahan, this offensive staff, Trey Lance is still a massive unknown. I want to see what Trey Lance can do. I wish the 49ers would have given Lance an entire preseason game. He certainly needs it for his confidence, for his development, but the organization needs to see what type of player Trey Lance is and what they have to work on with him and what he has to work on in order to tap into some of that potential instead of looking like a raw prospect, which he did glaringly against the Las Vegas Raiders when he was looking at reads, staring down receivers, not throwing the football, holding on to the rock a little bit too long, which was what resulted in some of those sacks. But unfortunately, I don't think Kyle Shanahan and San Francisco are going to play Trey Lance an entire preseason game. Last opportunity to do that would be in week 3 of the preseason. Next up on the show, who is Ilm Manning? We're going to dive deep into this UDFA out of Hawaii because this left tackle put some great plays on tape against the Las Vegas Raiders. First, though, betting odds for Saturday's preseason game at Levi's Stadium. Denver Broncos 4-point favorites. The over-under for this game, 39.5. If you want to get those bets in, do so with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. All you have to do, plug in that link down below, chatsports.com/49bet, and the promo code Niners125 for a 125% deposit bonus. You put in $100, you get $125 back. That's $225 to game with. Even I can do that simple math, and I failed elementary algebra at Temple University. All right, to the topic, the main topic of today's show. Who is Ilm Manning? He's starting to turn the heads of coaches as well as some of his teammates. And if you go back and watch some of the tape with his reps, with what he did against the Raiders, one of the lone players who actually performed well. Some background on the player here. A little bit older for a rookie. He is 24 years old. He did spend 5 years at Hawaii. I've always wondered this. Can you imagine what it's like to go to school in Hawaii? And by the way, those of you who are affected by what happened in Hawaii, if you're watching the show from there, because I do know a lot of people watch the show and the program from Hawaii. I hope you're all okay. If you have family, friends, whatever. But playing football there at the college level in Hawaii must be an absolute blast, especially when they've had some really good offenses. I remember growing up watching Colt Brennan, RIP to him, but they could really chuck the rock. And for Ilm Manning, he was a part of some really good offenses at Hawaii as they were able to put up a lot of digits. UDFA, who was immediately signed by San Francisco, he's a little bit smaller for a left tackle. And that's going to be a common theme on today's show. He's shorter, with shorter arms, a little bit light for a left tackle, but so far so good for him for the reasons that we're about to talk about. What I like here, why Brock Purdy was able to be successful as a rookie last year for San Francisco, and he didn't seem to be overwhelmed by the moment. Very experienced player at Iowa State. Those reps matter. We talk about Trey Lance, the lack of experience, lack of reps at North Dakota State and at the NFL level has led to him maybe losing the QB2 battle for San Francisco. 62 games, 60 starts for Ilm Manning, and he was a really accomplished player while playing in the Mountain West. First team All-Mountain West last year, started 14 games as a freshman. So he comes out of high school, and immediately, I think he was from the Arizona area, if I'm not mistaken, and he was one of 4 true freshmen around the country in all of college football, all of Division I, to start every single game as a freshman. And Chris Forster, really good offensive line coach for San Francisco, did speak glowingly of Ilm Manning the other day. He said he's got really good bend, flexibility, balance, things that you need inside. He's got good quickness. He'll have to learn. It's quicker. Things happen. The steps have to be a little bit shorter. Offensive lineman Spencer Burford goes through it a little bit still. He still sometimes kicks bigger like a tackle and needs to keep his feet underneath him a little bit more under control like a guard. So it's more of a quickness. And I don't want to say quickness. It's more of just your footwork has to be, everything has to happen a little bit faster at guard. And that's what Ilm will have to learn if he ever makes that transition inside. Now that's Chris Forster talking about Ilm Manning kicking inside. But he looks to be the part at left tackle. I thought Brad of SF Niners did a great film breakdown. We'll plug his YouTube channel in a second. And he was able to illustrate that really quick kick out from Ilm Manning, which is really important for a tackle because you want to get off to that good jump as soon as the ball is snapped. Have that really good timing so that you could put yourself in a position to block that edge rusher, especially if that edge rusher is really quick. You have that way to kind of step back, and immediately you gain that step, you gain that leverage on the opposing edge rusher. As for Ilm Manning's Pro Football Focus grades against the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium, he earned a pass blocking grade of 85.3. That's really good. Now, a run blocking grade wasn't great, but he wasn't playing alongside some of the other quality offensive linemen along the trenches here. He was a part of that second string offensive line, and some people have said, like, this guy's been playing better than Jalen Moore and some of the other backup tackles on this roster, like a Matthew Pryor, who the Niners signed in free agency. The run blocking grade, not great at 45.2. Overall grade, 60.1. Honestly, I don't care much about the run blocking grade and the overall grade. What I wanted to see from Ilm Manning, coming out of small school Hawaii, does he have the athleticism? Does he have the ability to transition to the NFL level? Because pass blocking is the most difficult. And for him to earn an 85.3 grade, that's pretty telling. He logged 33 snaps, 17 of those were pass blocking snaps. And look at the clean sheet on the right side of your screen here. 0 penalties, 0 sacks allowed, 0 hits allowed, 0 pressures allowed, and all of those snaps coming at left tackle. And for San Francisco, tackle depth is a massive problem. I said it the night of the draft when San Francisco drafted Jake Moody in the 3rd round. You passed up on quality tackles for a kicker. Think about how crazy that sounds. The San Francisco 49ers had needs along the offensive line, especially at offensive tackle, one of the most important positions on a football roster, and they passed up on offensive tackles, especially a guy like DeJuan Jones, who's been holding up great in protection and against the run for the Cleveland Browns all preseason, for a kicker in Jake Moody. That is football team building malpractice. And I can't believe that San Francisco went about it in that way. They continue to have these really odd misfires in the third round, but maybe Ilm Manning can make up for that. Now, Brad from SF Niners, he's the one who really let everybody know on Twitter as well as Instagram who Ilm Manning is. So I'm going to give credit where credit is due and how well he played. And his film breakdown of Ilm Manning, and I think he logged some late night hours, did Brad, looking at some of the tape. It's excellent. So show him some love. His YouTube page, the SF Niners, Twitter, at Graham_SFN. He's one of those guys in the Niner content creator community who I really trust when it comes down to film breakdowns because he used to play offensive line, knows the game really well. So this is coming from a trusted source. And Ilm's testing numbers in the pre-draft process, he was not invited to the NFL Combine, but across the board, I saw a tweet with some of his athletic testing numbers. He would have ranked within the top 10, top 15 tackles who were invited to Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine. Now, at his size, pretty good 40-yard dash at 5 flat. These are his pro day numbers, 20-yard split at 2.88 and a 10-yard split of 1.76. That short area quickness, important for some of the reasons that I mentioned with getting that quick start out as an offensive tackle. His arms are shorter at 32 and 5/8 inches. Now, comparable player, Joe Staley did not have long arms, but he was an excellent athlete. We saw that as he was able to get out in space on some of those plays, especially that Alex Smith run against the New Orleans Saints in that playoff game. So it's very rare for an offensive tackle to have short arms like that because you want leverage when you're blocking in the trenches. But sometimes you can get away with those short arms if you're a good athlete. And with the 40-yard dash, the short area explosiveness with that kickstart that we talked about a little bit earlier, maybe Ilm Manning can stay at left tackle and not have to pivot inside to guard. This is a good development for San Francisco. If this type of production, this type of development, and this type of growth happens at a position of need with the guy who's really affordable as a UDFA, given all of the massive contracts you're paying to other players on this team. And at right tackle, massive question mark with Colton McKivitz. How long at left tackle is Trent Williams going to play in general and or play at an elite level? Offensive line, really important. Some people think it's nerdy. Honestly, when I watch games sometimes, I'm looking at the trenches because that's what matters and that's what sets the tone. So we see you, rookie. We see you, rookie. Last year, we were talking about Spencer Burford. I reached out to him on Twitter. He's like, yo, I appreciate the love. And he went on to start, 15, 16 games last year as a rookie. Added some weight this offseason. And now another young offensive lineman on top of Aaron Banks going into year 3, where the Niners are starting to accumulate and pile up some intriguing young talent at positions of importance. Type Ilm to show him some love. Look out for him coming up on Saturday against the Denver Broncos. I can't wait to see how he builds on that performance.